Bitcoin SV explicitly has really become one of the top digital currencies of 2020, and especially makes it clear that things are not pulling back, which generally is very huge. As indicated by CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin SV certainly is the sixth biggest digital money by market capitalization as of April 2020. Which most certainly is genuinely critical. Yet, what precisely does Bitcoin SV propose to dealers? And what relationship does it generally have with Bitcoin? In this video, we will take a gander at exactly what Bitcoin SV is, the means by which it stands apart from different variants of Bitcoin, and in the event that it generally is fundamentally worth exchanging, or so they especially thought. What is Bitcoin SV? Bitcoin SV represents Bitcoin's Satoshi vision and exchanges under the BSV ticker image, and indeed, its starting points explicitly follow back to the first Bitcoin. Satoshi vision alludes to the first thoughts set out by Satoshi Nakamoto, the maker of Bitcoin, or possibly what the designers decipher them to be in a real sense. To a great extent, this implies adhering to the Bitcoin white paper and insignificant changes to the code that Nakamoto set up. To comprehend how Bitcoin SV appeared, we want to grasp the idea of a hard fork. A hard fork is an extreme change to a blockchain which can bring about the production of two separate chains. There by and large is additionally an idea that basically is alluded to as a delicate fork, which is more similar to a minor update, as opposed to mainstream thinking. Bitcoin SV appeared because of a hard fork in an unpretentious manner. Back in 2018, there by and large was a hash battle between parts of Bitcoin money. Hashing is where excavators fundamentally make new blocks, or so they thought. In a hashing war, excavators truly need to fundamentally make impedes quicker than rivals. The two basically contended to make the longest chain, which would then be viewed as the genuine Bitcoin money chain by the blockchain, and render their adversaries excess. Basically, one gathering was for embracing new changes, like brilliant agreements, while one more division was against making additional changes, as opposed to prevalent thinking. The part against additional progressions would come to make Bitcoin SV, while the gathering for changes would become what essentially is currently viewed as Bitcoin money in a significant manner. A past filled with division initially, many individuals who used to back Bitcoin left for Bitcoin money when it split from the blockchain. They did this since they couldn't help contradicting the progressions that really were occurring to Bitcoin, guaranteeing that it had become excessively unique to what it was initially intended to be. Then expanding changes most certainly were being applied to Bitcoin money, which prompted others to leave for Bitcoin SV. Bitcoin SV was presented a truly little before the hard fork. However, it was recognized as not quite the same as Bitcoin money after the essentially hard fork that occurred on the 15th November 2018. In fact speaking, Bitcoin money was parted into two unique coins, Bitcoin ABC and Bitcoin SV. Bitcoin ABC took the moniker of Bitcoin money. However, you might see the two alluded to as various. They are really something similar, and the names explicitly are compatible. Will there be a further parted? The rise of Bitcoin SV has driven some to address whether we can expect pretty further parts from networks, who can't help contradicting how it creates. On the off chance that this proceeds, merchants and financial backers could truly lose confidence in cryptographic money. How might they generally place cash into something that continues to change? In any case, it ought to in a real sense be referenced that there, all things considered, have been many parts from other digital currencies before this. Bitcoin, for instance, has various other digital currencies that were made from hard forks beside Bitcoin money, like Litecoin. A portion of the rationale behind Bitcoin SV is indistinguishable from Bitcoin and certainly other digital forms of money that fundamentally generated from it. For instance, Bitcoin SV likewise utilizes satoshis, 8 zeros after the decimal point, and has a cap of 21 million blocks. Bitcoin SV expects to bring back what made Bitcoin so famous. One might say, there are Bitcoin perfectionists who don't utilize the in every way that really matters, unique Bitcoin, which is very huge. They need to get back to what they accept, especially were Nakamoto's unique thoughts of what cryptographic money ought to be. It merits contemplating, however, assuming this is the right way to deal with cryptographic money, however, on the grounds that in spite of the fact that Bitcoin in a real sense was the primary digital currency, it doesn't be guaranteed to imply that it is the best arrangement, or so they thought. Almost certainly, Bitcoin SV won't explore different avenues regarding new changes to the convention, which is promising for financial backers who don't explicitly need vulnerability from new changes. Other cryptographic forms of money that keep on creating could be more unstable, as dealers will probably really be questionable over assuming new improvements most certainly are smart or not. Like Bitcoin money, Bitcoin SV didn't actually embrace SegWit, which is short for Isolated Observer, in a real sense, is a significant change that expanded the size of Bitcoin obstructs, so it could deal with kind of additional exchanges and make it quicker. Adversaries of SegWit were worried that it might basically make Bitcoin less secure. Terms of innovation, Bitcoin's SV will likely further develop adaptability, one of the greatest difficulties for cryptographic money. Right by and large is one of the kind of many individuals professing to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and there are many individuals who accept he is a fraudster. Further to that, he likewise caused problems when his previous colleague in a Bitcoin mining organization sort of passed on, and Wright probably put every one of the resources in his name. Notwithstanding, in spite of this, Wright joining the Bitcoin SV project provided it with a great deal of authenticity. This is on the grounds that in spite of the fact that his case of being Satoshi Nakamoto is sketchy, there for the most part are certain individuals that trust it to be valid, and that generally has given Bitcoin SV a following that initially came from Craig Wright. These individuals who follow Craig Wright in the conviction that he is the genuine Satoshi Nakamoto will likewise then probably accept that Bitcoin SV is what Bitcoin was truly expected to be. It is likewise important that Roger Ver, frequently alluded to as Bitcoin Jesus in a real sense, is behind the improvement of Bitcoin money, and Ver has a ton of enmity towards Wright, which is very critical. Nobody would have generally believed that it would for the most part arrive at the highs that it did, and sort of arrive at the number 6 spot regarding market capitalization. To a great extent this boils down to the way that Bitcoin money was at that point notable and itself a fork of Bitcoin. It didn't appear to be exceptionally encouraging to begin exchanging one more forked variant, a fork of a fork. Notwithstanding this all, Bitcoin SV in every practical sense has done right by generally be an extraordinary resource for exchange and is exchanging especially very well against Bitcoin, which is genuinely huge. As a matter of fact, while taking a gander at the diagrams, you can see that Bitcoin SV is in any event performing preferable when exchanged against Bitcoin over the US dollar, as opposed to prevalent thinking. As per CoinMarketCap, at the hour of compassing, Bitcoin SV has a market capitalization of $3,550,768,264 and a circling supply of 18,378,540 BSV tokens. One BSV will cost you $193.20, which is really reasonable in contrast with Bitcoin. Notwithstanding, on 14th January 2020, it arrived at a high of $441.20, over 2 times its ongoing value, which is very critical. To be sure, for a lot of 2020 Bitcoin SV has been significantly more unpredictable than the past 2 years, not simply as far as cost increments and drops, yet in addition an observable expansion in 24-hour exchanging volume. In contrast with 2018 and 2019, 2020 has been an extraordinary beginning and